I'm going to talk about democratizing APIs accessibility, how AI and visible tools can help anyone tackle the technical. Pretty fancy title, I didn't come up with it, I just did the content afterwards. So to make up some time, we lost some time at the beginning, I'll go through this quickly. My name's John Banning. I work at I work at Postman. I previously worked at BazaarVoice. I'm a senior solutions architect, been at Postman for 4 years. Prior to that, I was at BazaarVoice in charge of their API program. And also, I'm active in the Austin Homegrown API meetup. So if anyone's from Austin here, we had an API meetup for a while. It went away during COVID. We're trying to get it coming back up. I'd be interested to know if anyone has interest in that or wants to help out. Other fun things about me, I'm a native Austinite. I grew up here. So if you have any questions about tacos, barbecue, or the University of Texas, come find me afterwards. I'll be at the Postman booth. All right, so democratize what? It's a big word. Again, it's kind of what does this thing mean? I'm not here trying to impress anybody with my vocabulary. It's pretty small. What democratizing really means to me is giving opportunity to others around resources that they wouldn't otherwise have available to them. So, I thought about this for a while. It's really lowering the price of entry. And I thought about, I don't know why I came up with this. My father, back when he was in college, he studied statistics, and you can see that's not actually a picture of him, but it is a mainframe, one he worked on. They had to have time and schedule opportunities to go in there and put their punch cards in there. So these large computing platforms weren't available to everyone, right? So you had to schedule time. So people, with other interests didn't have this resource. So whereas now everyone has 1,000 times that computing power in their hand with these iPhones, or just any phone. So again, it's lowering the price of entry, and then I thought, like, what's kind of the mantra or the saying? Let them play. That's what I came up with. Let everyone play. Let everybody have the resources. Let everybody kind of get their feet wet with this technology, right? So let them play. So then I thought of where did I hear this let them play before, and it was actually in the Bad News Bears Part 2, when the Bad News Bears play in the Astrodome. It's a terrible movie. It is really bad, but that's what the team comes up and chants. To let them play in the Astrodome. So there's my funny, dumb GIF. All right. So before we want to let everybody have access and availability to APIs, we need to understand who's currently using it today, right? So this is from the State of the API report that Postman puts out in 2023. You can see kind of the personas and roles of these people who are using APIs today. Right, so nothing's really crazy things are standing out. You got full stack developer, backend developer, QA, testers, all those kind of people are using APIs today. But the thing that kind of got my eyes were these other, personas or roles, business analyst, student professor, and other that are starting to use APIs. So as we all know at this conference, the growth of APIs is exponential. Everybody's kind of using this thing, right? So people getting the data, how they get the data, that's what we're trying to kind of facilitate here. Let them play. So Postman's founder, Abhinav Asthana, he has this mission, he beats into our heads all the time, is his mission or his goal is to have 100 million connected builders, not just in the Postman platform, but just using APIs. So where we stand right now, again, another statistic from that report, I believe it's around 28 million just developers, not specific to APIs. And this is what Abhinav's talking about, just developers. So how are we going to get there, right? We've got people who have those jobs, the backend developers, other software developers, testers. We need to kind of expand and embrace everyone to start using this technology in APIs. So that little animation was supposed to go from, we got 10 million, we now need 100 million. Or 1 million, I apologize. So how are we going to get there? It's this concept of citizen developers, right? So not people in that typical job role might be needing to use APIs. Doctors using, healthcare information. They can start facilitating using APIs to get that data, your medical history. Lawyers, astronauts, construction people. We all see those industries using APIs. And you don't have to be, again, someone with a CS degree to get and post data. People are learning about how to get data. So how can we get there? That's the question. At Postman, we've got these two new features that some people have heard about, some people haven't. It's kind of rolling out really slowly and being cautious about it. So one is Postbot, and that's the AI assistant that's within the application to help people use Postman easier, to understand it, make their job easier. And then we also have flows, and I'm going to talk about these too. So first, Postbot, right? What's it really going to do? These are the three main topics where the Postbot application sits within Postman and helps you with right now today. So API testing, documentation, and visualization. A lot of people, when they send a request, they might need help writing tests about it or debugging an issue. In addition, they need to document what the heck is this thing doing if they're creating APIs, and Postbot can help you with that. And the final one is often when you hit APIs, RESTful APIs, you get a payload back of JSON data. Who loves to open JSON and just parse through it and can read it quickly? Not that many people. So there's this concept of visualization. I want to see it in a certain view, a table, linear, bar graph, and we have a couple other ones as well that I'll demo. Okay. So this slide I put in at the last kind of minute. Artificial intelligence is not new. We've got ChatGPT, Copilot, OpenAI, but LoadMill is something that came on my radar a while ago. It's specific to the API space, and it will help you write tests. And then also, I just wanted to include, again, AI is not new. We even have an entire track at this conference dedicated to this. So yesterday, there were 3 speakers talking specifically about AI-related things. All right, so my colleagues doing these demos, they're like, you should just put a video in here. Let's do that. Let's watch that. I don't like videos. I'm going to jump into the application and show you kind of what this is. So fly by the seat of our pants. Let's just go into Postman and show you what I'm kind of talking about here. So again, we're talking about tests, visualization, and documentation that Postman can help you with. Postbot. All right, so let me go ahead and maximize this. This is just a Postbot demo workspace I have. And for the first thing we're going to talk about is this testing autocomplete, right? So I've got a post in here. It's just using an echo service. I send the request, and you can come see that I get this response back. Well, in my tests, I'm not testing for anything here. So this Postbot can help me start writing tests. So I can actually come in here and do Postman object.test and start giving it some natural language. Like, I want to write a test for response time less than 200 milliseconds, right? I just named it that. I hit comma. And now you can see, hopefully you can see, it's auto-completing down at the bottom. So I can just tab over, and now my test is in there. And my syntax, expect PM response time to be below 200. That's milliseconds, right? So again, I can start writing things, and Postbot can help me write tests easier. PM.test. Response should be 200. Status. Code. Tab again, and it's in there. Right? These are pretty basic ones, but at the same time, I can also start getting more tricky. PM test, response, header should have, what do we want to pick? Host, right? Let's see. Let's see if this Postbot can pick that up. It's got it there. JSON to be an object, and then also property host, right? So this is helping people start writing tests. So this is pretty cool. Postbot can do that for you. These are specific autocomplete ones, but what if I have an entire collection here? I've got just a create mock server or mock user, some stuff in here. It's just giving me a response. And again, I don't have any tests. I'm super test deficient. I can come down to Postman here and just say, hey, generate these tests for me. And I need to click this button. It's working on this. Oh, and apparently my machine needs to be restarted. Thank you, IT. But my response, you can see all my tests are here. It wrote 4 tests for me for this one endpoint. I can go ahead and save these tests. And I come back to the endpoint, and if I scroll, you can see all these tests were auto-generated. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to say, hey, write some tests for me. I need some tests to make sure the coverage is here. You're definitely able and should write your own tests if these don't meet your use cases, but this is helping people starting to use Postman and APIs. All right, so that's some of the testing side of things. Request debugging also, right? So I can create a test here. It's going to fail, right? It doesn't have a URL here, couldn't send the test. Postbot should say, nope, it's not in playing along. Again, this is part of doing the demo. Typically, you'll get a debugger, hey, what's wrong with this? And it will give you some suggestions, and it should come back and say, hey, your base URL, you don't have a host at all. So let's move over to documentation. Who likes writing documentation about their APIs? Good answer. You guys are stars. So I can actually come in here to this endpoint, just send it, get my response back, and I can come back down to the bot and say, oh, hang on, let me go back over here. Postbot. Let's go to the prompt. Right. Write documentation. I can't see, guys. Let's see if this works. There it is. So now I've got documentation for this endpoint giving me what this is about. If I had query string parameters, it would show me that, show me the response also, and the body, it's also documenting there. So I can use the AI, generative AI bot in here to start writing my documentation, something I don't particularly like to do. And kind of the final one is visualization. I can start looking at this visualization. Again, sending the same endpoint. I just want to visualize this. I can come to the Visualize tab, and I've already run this once. So that's why it's in here. I can say Visualize with a bar chart. But you also have the capability of something like, I'm going to send a request for a specific IP address and see what it says, where it says I am. I get back this JSON. I don't really want to read this. I want to go to Visualize, and I want to visualize the response. Oh, hang on, let me stop that. I want to use a prompt, and I have my prompt written here. And I'll read it out to you. Visualize the response as a world map using latitude and longitude using OpenStreet, right? So Postman is now intelligent enough not just to give you a bar chart or a line graph. You can say, hey, go get me my content, and OpenStreet, please work. I'll come back to this, but it will give me the tiles and my location of Austin, Texas, and just kind of a visualization map. So we talked about Postbot helping out with writing tests, writing documentation, creating visualizations. Again, so it's helping lower the bar or inviting people in here to start using Postman easier and faster. Other things that we can do, you can get expert curated content. If you need to ask a question like, hey, how do I write a post request? You can pipe that into the prompt, and it will give you documentation about that. All right, let's go back to the slides. So I'm going to go through these quickly because we talked about autocomplete. We talked about API tests. Don't need to watch these videos. We talked about documentation, and we talked about visualization. So moving over to the next slide, additional benefits of AI. It's a productivity enhancer, right? So you don't have to spend that time writing the documentation. You don't have to spend running the test. Postbot can take care of that for you. And this, again, is a chart from the Postman-specific state of the API we put out last year. The other one I want to talk about is Postman flows. And what is a flow? You might have seen commercials for this or ads for this. It is a visual application development interface. It's a canvas to arranged connected APIs. You can do all this with collections by ordering them and writing some JavaScript right now. It's cool. We do it all the time. I can take the response from one request, pass it to the next. But there's also other computations, some transformations I want to do that's difficult within JavaScript sandbox. So how can we do that today within flows? Right? These are some of the blocks you can drop on the canvas. I'll show you more of these in a second. You can send requests, curate with AI, delay, you have conditionals, all of that good stuff. So again, that's kind of what it looks like. Here's the video. Again, we're going to just go for it, look at what flows look like in the application itself. All right, I'm going to flip over to another workspace. And in here, I have the Flows tab here. Welcome to Flows. This will show you how to get started with Flows. But you can see I have, hey, well, I want to see a stock price of something. I can actually come in here, put Apple's ticker symbol in here. I'm going to zoom out to show you the full canvas where I go ahead and run this. And these are just APIs and different blocks strung together right? You can see the API request running, hopefully. There it goes, and it shows me what's happened on that stock over time. These are the different blocks you can drop on the canvas and stitch them together. So there's the logic, there's the for loops, there's the output, there's the transformations, there's the visualization, all in here. Again, you don't have to know JavaScript to write this. You can drag and drop these things on here, on the canvas. For the sake of time, I'm going to bypass a couple of these, but the weather information. I put in the zip code. Let me go ahead and put Austin in here because we're all here. 78701. Run this. All right, so it is going to be pretty windy, it looks like. It also is going to be rainy the next couple days. I don't have that visualization on here, but you can see deviating from the norm of the weather as well as on here. It's easy to do, drag and drop these things on here. So play with that if you can. But it's bringing the bar down for people to start using APIs in general. So flows, we talked about that, and I kind of want to just wrap this up. Hang on. So we're talking about the citizen developer, right? Getting those people into the application, not just Postman, but just getting them into using APIs. And that's what Postman's trying to do with both the Postbot and the visualizer, the Postman flow. That's our goal, to have all those people in here. And then we're getting there together, right? We're going to use the Postbot and the flows, and we're also releasing these things to the general Postman users around the May 1st timeline. We have a big PostCon out in San Francisco, but we also have the release of version 11 out there. So look for that. I'm going to stop now. I know we got some other presenters, and ask me questions or come by the booth if you have time. So thank you.